to stay. I'm here to stay. It's time to live and see the light. Take the time to fight and do what's right. Gotta take it on one step at a time. I'm gonna open my eyes to a brand new day. Open my eyes to a brand new day. Open my eyes to a brand new day. We hear the battle cry. Tonight is do or die. We fight and you will see. Addicts to victory. We're an army in the valley now, on a mission, gonna tear it down. Eyes upon you, all adrenaline and determined for a clean sheet win. We will win, we will win, a clean sheet win. We will win. We hear the battle cry. Tonight is do or die. We fight and you will see. Addicts to victory. Chugging down the line. Racing against the tide. Follow us and see. Addicts to victory.
A stellar performance in midweek, and another one of those will do us just nicely today. It's Cambridge United for the Addicts this afternoon. A side we did the double over last season, and who knows, if we put in another performance like we did on Tuesday night, then we could potentially end the day top of the tree. We've got loads to come ahead of kick-off right here on Charlton TV. We'll hear exclusively from manager Ben Garner, who sat down with commentator Terry Smith yesterday morning to preview today's game. And recently retired captain Jason Pearce joins us on co-comms this afternoon, and he'll be looking at a snippet of his career in pictures, a feature that the club released a couple of weeks ago. We'll also hear from wide man Charlie Kirk, who scored his first Addicts goal on Tuesday and has enjoyed a new lease of life under Ben Garner so far this season. My name is Aidan McGee. I'm joined by a stellar panel of guests. I'm going to introduce Steve Brown first of all, who needs no introduction. And we're also joined by this man.
Lisby make it 3-1. You're complaining about the challenge by Haraderson. Oh, and Charlton have taken the lead. Goal kicked by Kylie. And Lisby onto it into a flash. This is Stewart. The shots are committed to get there. Lisby has got it. And it's Lisby, Kevin Lisby, 2-1 Charlton. Tucked it away really well. There we go, and Lisby, what a run.
Oh, what a goal! What a hat-trick! What a moment at the Valley!
A brilliant reel there. Welcome back to Charlton TV, Kevin Lisby. Good to see you. How are you feeling?
Yeah, it's good. It's always a pleasure to be back at Charlton. Always a pleasure to see some old faces and new faces. I'm looking forward to the game today, and hopefully we get the win.
And doing a challenge later on for us, which we're going to talk about later on. I don't want you to discuss it just yet, because I know you're still psyching yourself up. Brownie, how are you doing?
Very well, how are you?
Yeah, not bad at all.
Good.
You weren't here on Tuesday and we scored 5 goals.
Yeah, I did think that was going to come up. I didn't even watch the game, sadly. I was being thoroughly entertained in Ireland. A lovely trip over there.
Was that holiday, was it?
A little holiday. It was my wife's 50th, yep. So took her away to Ireland, and a lovely little spot.
What's your wife's name again?
Amanda. Yeah,
Amanda.
she's over in the
Happy
lounge
50th.
today. Yeah, yeah.
Happy 50th to Amanda from everybody here at Charlton TV and everybody here at the stadium as well, of course. How do you feel about the game? You'll have seen the goals. I mean, you know, that's probably the boost they needed. It was a little bit in and out before that, wasn't it? But suddenly the table looks a lot different.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, in terms of confidence, morale, what a boost that result and performance would be. And they've shown in fits and starts, actually, that was coming. You know, we've had a couple of really good halves. I thought the second half response against Derby was terrific. The first half up at Accrington was brilliant. But either side of that, Derby had a wonderful half and so did Accrington. We've slowly ironed that out in terms of started performing better over longer periods. And that's culminated with that performance and win on Tuesday night. And what I would say is anyone that says, oh, they went down to 10 men, not having any of that. You know, we've played against 10 men many times.
Anyway, weren't they? When the men,
absolutely, and it's not easy always to play against 10. They shut up shop, and it's hard to break down. And we broke them down many times. And by all accounts, it could have been more than 5.
I guess when you play against 10 men, Kevin, you can't really do it any other way than play 2 banks of 4. And as Steve says, it gets very difficult to break down.
Yeah, I mean, even in training, we would have done that plenty of times. There's times where the manager will bring 10 players over to play against 11. How do you break them down? And it is difficult because they're not trying to attack, they're just trying to cover the spaces, they're trying to block the spaces. So for me, when teams do go down to 10 men, I think it's just as hard to score goals. And I think to score as many goals as we did with the 10 men, I think is quite an achievement.
What about from a striker's point of view as well, when you've really just walloped someone who scored 5 goals, presumably your strikers have got among the goals as well? Is it a question of you can't wait to really play the next game, can you, whether it's home or away, particularly if it's here?
Yeah, I think, especially at the beginning of the season, you want to get as much goals as possible. You almost want to fill the tank up, give yourself a little bit of breathing space. So, yeah, I see it as the beginning of the season, it was really important for me that I hit the ground running and get some early goals in. So I'm sure the strikers will be thinking, look, they want to get on the score sheets, they want to get their goal ratio up, and they want to be a part of that group that stays at the top at the end of the season.
Just as from an opposing perspective, you've lost to Portsmouth. Okay, if you're Cambridge, you've lost to Portsmouth. They're a good side, a fancy side in this division. Yeah. But they're mindful of what Charlton have done on Tuesday. 5 goals. How are you feeling if you're a Cambridge United player sitting in that dressing room now?
Well, I'm a bit apprehensive, I would have thought. I mean, their away form's not great anyway. Conceded 10 in the last 3, so so they're really difficult to pick up points for them actually away from home. So a little bit apprehensive. However, you know, the manager's job is to calm that all down, is to make them believe in the system and the way they're playing and the plan that they have, because everybody will, you know, building up to a game will have a game plan in place. But as we're proving, this is becoming a slightly tougher place to come this year than it was last. So, you know, they'll have the job in hand all ready to deliver. But, you know, sitting in a dressing room, you know, waiting to deliver is completely different to when it kicks off, you know, and you'll soon know if you're in for a long afternoon or not.
Well, it's 45 minutes now until the start of the game. We've got an interview with Ben Garner now. Let's hear what he has to say, because he sat down yesterday morning with commentator Terry Smith. Let's have a listen now.
Ben, morning. 5-1 drubbing of Plymouth on Tuesday night, and now another home game to come. What's the mood in the squad like?
Confidence is obviously good after Tuesday night. It was a really strong performance and obviously a really pleasing result against, for me, a really good side. I think they've done well last season. They've started this season well. So to perform in the manner that we did and achieve the result was great. And obviously the group takes a lot of confidence from that. We're still keeping our feet on the ground. We know we've got a really tough game tomorrow against Cambridge, and we've worked hard in preparation for that. And hopefully we can sort of kick on from where we left off on Tuesday night and pick up another 3 points at home.
Given how we've played in spells of games up to this point and prior to the Plymouth match, did you feel a result like that was coming?
Yeah, I thought a good performance was coming. You always hope that the result follows, and obviously it ended up being quite emphatic. Obviously the red card plays a part in that. But yeah, the signs on the training ground have been good, and probably aside from first half against Derby, performance levels have been really good over the last couple of weeks. So we need to keep building that, we need to keep improving. We know we've still got a lot of work to do, but it's a promising start that we now want to build on.
And Cambridge to come next, what do you know about them?
Really good side, Cambridge. I think they've done ever so well over the last couple of seasons. I think Ben Strang there's a really good sporting director. He's done a great job behind the scenes, and Mark Bonner's done an unbelievable job as manager. You know, promoted out of League Two, a really solid first season in League One, and I think they've improved again this season. So, yeah, good side, very well organised. You can see that they all work for each other. They're very committed, and they've got good quality and pace, especially on transition. So, we're well aware of what a tough game it's going to be, and looking at their recent games. You look at midweek against Portsmouth and you think, well, Portsmouth must have been dominant. It wasn't the case at all. I mean, they were really unlucky to go in level at half-time, Cambridge, and up to the hour point were well in the game. It was a strange game in many ways, and similar when they played away at Oxford recently, they lost in injury time, and again, no way they deserved that on the balance of play. So this is a strong side come in, and we know we're going to have to be at our best.
And touching on that, they've won 2 and lost 2 of their opening, but as you say, that game against Portsmouth, the 4-1 loss on Tuesday. Do you think they'll arrive at the Valley looking to right some wrongs from Tuesday, and does that make them more dangerous?
Yeah, it can do in some ways. I think they'd be looking for a reaction for sure, and I'm sure Mark's highlighting the many positives they had in that performance, because, like I say, it was a lot of good stuff in there from them. So, but we need to have to focus on ourselves and you know, do what we did on Tuesday. You know, play the way we want to play, attack from the first whistle, put as much pressure on them as we can, and hopefully get the crowd behind us as we have done in these home games, and help that make a difference as well.
And we're 3 from 3 at home so far. How important is that as we continue, or that we continue that strong run? Yeah,
really important. You know, we want to make it such a difficult place to come, and as I've said, I want the supporters to enjoy coming and watch us play, and have that joy in seeing us play. So hopefully we can keep doing that, and also we want to win away as well. You know, we don't just want to be strong at home and then not pick up points away. We've been unlucky, very unlucky in the 2 away games so far to only take the 1 point. But if we can keep the home form going, that'd be great, and then we'll add some away results, I'm sure.
So that's Ben Garner there. I just want to open it up to the guys again. Kevin, you talked about home form. How important is that when you're going for promotion? Because it's almost, if you're going for playoffs, maybe, you know, probably those points on the road are a bit of a bonus, aren't they?
Yeah, I think you touched upon that a few times. I think the home form is really key. You don't want to start relying on going away from home and picking up points in other people's stadiums. So you want to ensure that you get your points at home. We've got 3 in a row, so I think long may that continue. And then you're sort of looking to pick up results, maybe draws and wins away from home, and I think that gets you up the table, and I think that gets you in the top 6 at least.
You'd have seen the lineup, confirmation of the lineup on the screen there. It's been up there for 30 seconds or so. Steve, you've identified one change, I believe?
Yeah, Innes has come back in for Lavelle. I think Claydon keeps his spot because Session's not even made the bench, so there must be an injury Sessegnon there. But yeah, I think you're desperately unlucky if you're Sam Lavelle coming into that performance on Tuesday night, winning 5-1. And straight back out for Sam, and Inniss comes in. So it's a clear message from Ben Garner that Inniss is absolutely with O'Connell, the pair that he wants to go with. And Sam will have to lick his wounds and fight for his place as we move on. But I think an important point to make is, and Curbs has sat here many times saying, you know, where are the goals coming from? And if you look at Tuesday night, the front three all scored. They're back in tonight. We've got goals coming from, you know, all over the pitch actually. You know, and that must be so pleasing for Ben Garner that, you know, Stockley's now up and running. Kirk's now got himself in a bit of a confident mood. You know, great to see him scoring. You know, he's not had the best of times down here. So expecting that front three to be quite lively today.
Kevin, it's a bit of a risk, isn't it, when you bring in Ryan Inniss? He's had real injury problems in the last few years. I mean, he was struggling on the opening day against Derby. We all thought that he was going to have to come off at half-time. How much of a risk is it just placing all your store by a player who you're not necessarily sure you're going to get 38 games or 46 games out of him, are you?
I think a lot of the times we don't see what the manager sees. And there's things in training that he might have seen that maybe he feels that he can use today. So I've always learned as a player that maybe the manager sees something that he probably that we don't see as commentators and as fans. So he's obviously done it for a reason.
I want to have a look at the league table at the moment, because after that win in midweek, suddenly it looked very rosy for the Addicts, didn't it? But how do you see it shaping up there? I mean, suddenly there was a draw at Accrington, there was a win over Derby, defeat at Sheffield Wednesday, who you'd say, despite the result in midweek, would be a fancied side, and then suddenly a win over Plymouth, and it's top six. Everything looks good again, doesn't it?
Yeah, very good. You know, and if you back that up today with a win, I know I'm jumping the gun, Aid, but if you back that up again today with a win, you're suddenly hitting those 10 points off of 5 games. 2 points a game is promotion material. It has to be sustained for an incredible long time. That's why leagues are so difficult to get out of. But it would be a wonderful start. And a start, I'm happy to hold my hands up and say I didn't see that start coming. I mean, albeit it's got to be off the back of a win today. But I didn't see that start coming. And like I said, I think we were a touch fortunate up at Accrington, and we were a touch fortunate against Derby, because they could have won those games.
It was quite one-sided in the first half against Derby.
Very one-sided, and could have been a couple, maybe 3 down, but we weren't, and that's the important bit. I had a complaint about last year's team. When it was under pressure, it folded. Yeah. It lost games. You know, like Derby County, it would have lost 2-0, and it would have been no recovery. This year, we've stayed in the game, stayed in the fight, gone on to win it. By the same token, you can flip that around and say we didn't deserve to lose at Sheffield. I thought we were terrific. Credit to Darren Moore and the changes he made, actually, because that won him the game. How
much store do players place around this table over just when there's 4 games gone? I mean, do you read much into it? I guess you have to these days, because teams start so fast.
I wouldn't say we read too much in it, but we enjoy it.
Yeah. Well, if you're 6, you do, yeah.
Yeah, you enjoy.
Exactly right.
I mean, you enjoy looking at it. Every time you look at Sky Sports, you see your team. I don't know, 5th, 6th, 2nd, whatever it is. It's a nice sight to see, but I don't think we place too much on it. And as Brownie said before, it's a long season.
Yeah.
It is a long season. You have to be consistent.
I think the important thing, Aid, is the morale and confidence around the training ground. You can't explain how much that means to a group. Yeah. So if you're, you know, to look at QPR, when you're implementing a system like Ben Garner is, when you're doing what Michael Beale's doing, you kind of need a couple of results to get everybody on side, to start believing crowd and players. So although we enjoy it, looking at the table, it's great for the manager as well, because it gives him a little bit of breathing space. You can start to see the players buying into it, confidence and morale increases, and it sort of snowballs, doesn't it?
Full programme in League One. Let's take a look at the other fixtures today, plenty of them. League leaders Ipswich travelled to Shrewsbury. They've beaten last season's playoff finalist Wickham and held Derby to a goalless draw in the last 2 games. So this will be a tough test for Ipswich, again a fancied side in the summer. Peterborough will go top today. They're going to be strong in this division, don't you think, Peterborough? I mean, they float between the top 2, or sorry, between the 2nd and 3rd tier, and they seem to have a bit of a strategy behind them as well. They produce players.
Absolutely, and they are quite like their manager. You know, I think he's done a good job of it with teams in the past in this division. So, you know, I think teams coming down always have a slight advantage, because if they can hang on to the squads that they've had in the Championship, they've had all that experience. And sometimes the negativity does carry on over to next season, but by and large, you see the teams that come down challenging again. So I expect Peterborough up there. Barnsley may be the one that doesn't quite challenge, but I was really impressed with Derby, considering all the changes they've been through, the trouble behind the scenes. They got an interim manager. They did play ever so well in that first 45 minutes. I expect them to be up there, but the game I've got my eye on today if there is one, there's more than one, is Bolton Sheffield. I think, Sheffield are the ones that are fancied. They're the ones that everybody's got their own because of the strength in depth. I think Bolton could be, I've said this already on Charlton TV, dark horses. They had a great end to last season.
Fourth in the table, aren't they, Bolton?
Are they? Well, they've added, and they were strong at the end of last season. I quite like the way they're going about their business.
Is that the standout fixture for you as well, Kev? Bolton against Sheffield?
Yeah, they're two massive clubs in it. I was looking at the league myself, looking at the games, and as Brownie said, they just stick out. Bolton versus Sheffield Wednesday. I watched Sheffield Wednesday play last week, and I thought they were really good. And Bolton are a massive club, and they're going to attract big players, especially in this league. If you're going to go anywhere as a player, you'd probably go Bolton if there's an option between Bolton and anywhere else. So I think they're always going to be up there. So I think that's a massive game. But as Brownie said, I think I could see those two being in the top 6 at least by the end of the season.
Some real stellar names in that division as well as clubs. I mean, look at Plymouth, for example. I mean, back in the 90s, they were getting like 18,000 when Peter Shilton was there. They came up to the second tier, didn't they, for a few years under Paul Sturrock and Tony Pulis and these guys.
Your knowledge is outstanding, Aid. I have to say.
It is embarrassing.
It's unbelievable, isn't it? And he rattles it off and you go,
Just nod your head, isn't it?
Shilton, Plymouth,
I remember that.
Listen, that's where you're very, very good.
Good. Well, but it shows how competitive the league is, doesn't it? When, I mean, you've only got 4 teams, I think 4 teams unbeaten, and nobody's got a 100% record even 4 games in.
I think that was the case very early, actually, I think Kerb sits here and says how many of those Rex Premier League teams, there's so many that filter down into League One, and League One is sort of where it plateaus. You get the odd one slips down. Bradford, goes away. Portsmouth slipped down into League Two and recovered. But most of the time, if you get a fan base of 25,000 plus, you normally stabilise in League One. Leeds, Man City, rebuild, and then...
You've got the expectation to deal with, though, haven't you? That's the problem in reverse. I mean, the club like this that had, 7 consecutive years in the Premier League, some great moments outside of that as well.
Yeah, and normally what comes with slipping down in League One is you get left with all the players that have drained your resources that no one wants, unfortunately. So there's a big rebuilding job to be done when you are those big clubs dropping into League One. Whereas, and there's only 2 goes up and 1 through the playoffs, and sometimes you get the odd surprise, where the Barnsley comes up out of nowhere, and you get stuck in there. Sheffield United, another one stuck in there for years.
Okay, we're going to break for some club business just now. Our next home fixture today sees us face Gillingham in the Papa John's Trophy group stages on Wednesday, August 31st. Tickets are on sale on a price at £15 for adults, £10 for concessions, and just a £5 for under 11s. Head to cafc.co.uk to get your tickets. I should say booking.cafc.co.uk. I'll get that one right. If you can't make it to the Valley that night, you can watch every kick of the game live on Charlton TV with live streaming match passes priced at just £10. They're available to buy from the website now. Supporters who live outside the UK and Ireland are reminded that they can purchase a subscription for Charlton TV for just £220 per year. You'll get people like Brownie and Kev regularly, not so much me, but that's good value anyway, isn't it? £220 per year, £35 per month recurring. The subscription will allow you to watch every men's first team league game and Papa John's Trophy fixture live, as well as a host of other matches from our under-21s, under-18s and women's team. The cost per match of the annual subscription breaks down to less than £5 a game, which is based on you only watching the men's first team league games. You certainly get your money's worth considering everything you can get with that subscription. Head, of course, to the website to get yours now. Now, regular watchers of Charlton TV will hopefully now be aware that you can get involved with Charlton TV this season by sending in your questions to the studio via WhatsApp. Scott and the panel have already got through lots of questions this season, so if you have one that you'd like to read out or like to be read out, then please send it in. The number you need is currently on your screen, and that's 07384 517 580. Now, we touched on this right at the top of the programme. It involved Mr Lisby alongside me now. Fans watching Charlton TV on Tuesday night may have seen the launch of the all-new Cross Beer Challenge. So it's a slight variation. It sounds very exciting. It's certainly been brought in since I was last here, anyway, a couple of weeks ago. And that involves one of the club's professional youngsters. Sorry, not even a youngster. You'll be happy. You'll take that all day, won't you?
All day long.
Trying to hit the crossbar from the halfway line. If they hit it, then everyone inside the ground is over the age of 18 can get a free beer at our next home game. And young midfielder Jason Adigan was unsuccessful on Tuesday, meaning that no free beers are being handed out. So that, I mean, I think if you don't hit it and everyone misses out on a free beer, you're not going to be the most popular person in the ground, are you?
I don't think I am anyway, to be fair.
That's not true. That's not. This afternoon, a new contender has been put forward, and I can reveal that they are sitting in this very studio. Kevin, how are you feeling about it?
First of all, I was told I was going to hit the crossbar. I wasn't told where I was going to be doing it from.
Right. So you thought you were doing it for the 6-yard box?
Well, they normally have an 18-yard box challenge.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
Well,
You're not going to reach.
No, of course I'm not.
You're not going to reach.
Of course I'm not. Of course I'm not. So if you're thinking about getting a free bed, I'll buy one.
You're better off throwing it.
I probably won't reach that either.
A bit of good news, by the way, I should say. The Charlton women's side beat Southampton 2-0 this morning, so well done done. So then we'll be hearing from them just in a short period of time. Sorry, so a short time from now. Kevin, are you going to do it or not?
Brownie's shaking his head, but you know.
Did you bring what footwear have you got?
I've got my boots.
Have you?
I've got my
Good.
boots. Yeah, I've got my
It's
boots.
the fans
So
bring their
stop
boots.
frowning. Don't frown at me.
No, well, I've got my
You're
boots.
disappointed me.
Well,
He's not going to reach the crossbar.
Of course I will.
Nah.
Of course I will. I think I'm going to hit it.
Okay, we're going to move on to the women's team, as we mentioned. 2-0 win for them over Southampton at lunchtime. Next weekend, they contest their first home game of the season when they welcome London City Lionesses to the Oakwood. Tickets for that game are on sale now, and you can get yours on the website. Right, as well as at half-time today, I believe you're getting your boots on tomorrow as well, Kevin, is that right?
Yeah, we've got a Charlton's Legend game. We call it Legends, but it's the younger vets team. So yeah, we're playing against Bromley tomorrow to raise money for charity.
Who's going to be playing then? Talk us through some of the names.
So I've got myself, Johnny Jackson. Well, that'll be depending on how his result today. He did say to me, Kev, look, depending on how my result goes today, but he's put his name down, and if they win, hopefully he'll be there. Jamal Campbell-Rice, we've got there. We've got Soji.
Youngster Arsenal, isn't he?
No,
Charlton.
Charlton as well. Soji's playing as well. Chris Dixon.
Yeah, why not Brownie?
No.
Hey, I would love to. I can't even attend because I'm working tomorrow, but yeah, it's a good job you do. It's not the first time, and there's a lot of these games goes on, Aidan, and you know, these boys do turn up on a regular basis and jump in at the deep end to play to raise money, and you always manage to get half decent turnout, don't you?
I mean, it's in
What's it
Bromley.
made of as well?
Well, the charity is on the website, and I think it's for Bromley have sorted out the charity. So I literally just get the team together, and I try and support, and I try and get Charlton fans down there to raise money and awareness. And so as Brownie said, these boys, old men, come out and they put their neck on the line because there's injuries that could be happening.
Well, it's walking distance to my house, but I'm working tomorrow, unfortunately. But there is a great pub called the Bitter End, which is walking distance. Maybe some of the old men you're talking about might find out.
Listen to me. I'm sure a few of them know where that is.
And quite a few of them had a bitter end.
Tomorrow they might be, yeah.
Well, we'd certainly encourage all the Charlton fans to head down to Hayes Lane anyway, wouldn't we?
Please.
Now, we've already touched on the Charlton's women's team. We're going to hear from head coach Karen Hills, who named her vice-captain and captain this week. Let's hear from the pair of them.
What honour is it to be named as captain of Charlton Athletic?
Yeah, it's a massive honour, a real privilege for such a big club, and what a great group of girls as well to lead. And again, just touching on like everything's in sync, values with the manager. So yeah, really looking forward to it.
Yeah, same with me really. It's an honour to be selected. Honour to obviously lead the team alongside Em. Obviously last season Lauren and Rachel did an amazing job together, and yeah, we're just looking forward to taking the role on from then and seeing where we can take this team.
Emily, a vastly experienced career for yourself, being at multiple clubs. Where do you think this leadership and experience will help aid this side?
Like you said, I think because I've experienced under so many different managers and captains and environments, personally I'd like to lead from my actions. So from all those experiences, what works, what doesn't work, and for me, and it's as a group, not one thing will work for everybody. So it's just getting to know the players as individuals and trying to bring everybody together.
And Hannah, obviously this is your second season with Charlton, so an experienced player within this squad.
Yeah.
Where do you think your knowledge within just the Charlton community is going to help you?
Yeah, I think it'll help massively. I like what Em said, she brings her experience from different clubs, whereas I've had the experience from last year. So I can sort of take on things from last year, both positive and maybe things we needed to work on or do differently, for example. I definitely just think I can bring that into this year, so I think it's a good balance between the two of us.
And obviously, Emily, looking at pre-season, scoring against WSL opposition, plenty of goal scorers across the camp as well. How would you assess the pre-season?
Yeah, I think it's been a success. Minutes through the legs, changing personnel, and like you said, touching on WSL and giving them good games. So for everyone to come through that now, are all excited for come Saturday.
Yeah, I agree. Definitely minutes in the legs, loads of different goal scorers. I think obviously pre-season is good for building confidence, building relationships. A lot of things we need to work on, but also really good things that we can now take into the league on Saturday. Really good test against a strong WSL side this week. So obviously now we can really look at that in depth and see what we can take from that into obviously the Championship in this season.
And looking back to this summer, which you can say was record-breaking in so many ways for women's football, what impact do you think that the Lionesses and just the Euros in itself has left into women's football now going into this season?
Yeah, I think it's been massive for women's football in general. I just think we can all see, not just as players, but as fans, families, friends, we all see the impact it's had. And for us personally as a club, we've already sold double the amount of season tickets as we did last year. So that just really shows the impact that it's actually had on us personally. So yeah, it's good going forward.
Great to hear then there from Emily and Hannah. We should say as well, Emily Simpkins scored a penalty this morning against Southampton, so congratulations to her on that. They kickstart their home campaign against London City Lionesses, as we said, next Sunday, and it'll be great to see as many of you there as possible. Right, Jason Pearce, as we mentioned at the top of the show, he hung up his boots in the summer. He's alongside the commentary team today. Let's hear him reflect on some of his big moments of his career. He had a great time, didn't he?
This is the highlight of my career, and not only for what the end result was, but what happened before that. I think the semi-final game I didn't play, and Naby Sarr played, and I felt like I wanted to play, obviously as any player would, and Naby coming towards the end of the season, he had a run towards the end of the season, and he was doing really well, and credit where credit's due, he done great, and he rightly so, he was the choice in the semi-final, and obviously we got through that game. But I remember starting this game and coming up to Wembley and not starting. I was thinking, I've worked all my career to try and get this opportunity, and not every player gets an opportunity to play at Wembley, especially in a playoff final. And I'm starting on the bench, so I was actually really disappointed. But I knew my job as a captain, as a leader, was to get around the group and G the lads up and make sure everyone's on it. And ultimately, we all wanted the same thing. We all wanted to get promoted back to the Championship. So, so I had the right mindset. I knew my mindset, and I felt like I had a part to play that day. So obviously, we know what happened in terms of obviously giving the goal away, a poor start, and I knew that wouldn't be the only goal in the game. I remember obviously Naby's pass back, went under Dylan's foot, and it was 1-0. And I remember shortly after that, Dylan making an unbelievable save to stop it being 2-0. I thought it just showed his character, Dylan, for making a potential mistake between the both of them, to then making that unbelievable save to keep us in the game. And then obviously Ben Purrington then goes and scores the other end later in the half. And then at half time, I'm doing the warm up as you usually do, and just enjoying being around, thinking nothing of, I'm never gonna come on now. I might come on towards the end of the game, 1-0, and then the fitness coach, I think Josh, comes running out. Pissy, Gaffer wants you. You're needed. I'm like, what? And then my heart starts beating. I'm thinking, oh my word, I'm going to go on. So I've gone in there, and he says, you're coming on. Naby's coming off. You're coming on. Steady the ship. Be the captain you are. And go out and obviously do your best. So I was really pumped to do well and wanted to change the game. And I felt like in the second half we started well, and I felt like we were more on top than they were. I felt like they got the better of us in all first half, and the tide started turning, and I think Johnny Williams come on midway through the half, and he sort of changed the game. And obviously I played my part, and this here is obviously the last kick of the game. I remember Josh Cullen, I think he went to cross it, done a Cruyff turn, then crosses it with his left. The ball's coming in. Parker here. This man is probably my best centre-half partner I've played with. Just for the relationship we had on the pitch, we knew exactly what each other were going to do. And I remember the ball coming in, and I trusted everything Pat said, and I think he would say the same about me. And I remember him shouting, "Pat's ball." And I remember the guy coming up, and there was a guy in front of me. I felt like I could have headed it, but I trusted him and just ducked under it, held the guy down. and then see Pat come powering through, headed it, he saved it, then his reaction was quickest and smashing it goes. So no, it was, that was an unbelievable feeling, knowing that it's such a late goal, in the game, in such a humongous game, such a big crowd, a full house at Wembley, and obviously the scenes when we scored was unbelievable. And then afterwards, for me to come on in a game of that magnitude, and then to lift the trophy in front of all the fans was, yeah, for me was the highlight of my career for sure.
It's great to hear from Piercy there, and fans can watch the full Jason Pearce in Pictures feature on Charlton TV or the club's YouTube channel, of course. Now, guys, I want to bring you back in here. I want to ask you what it was like to retire, because I think it's probably harder to do that for a footballer or any other sportsman compared to people in regular life, because it happens much earlier for you, doesn't it? And you have to consider a complete gear change in your life. What was it like for you, first of all, Kevin?
Yeah, it happens quickly. I remember speaking to some of the senior players, and they're like, enjoy it. It goes quicker than you think. And
I bet you thought they were talking nonsense, didn't you?
Yeah, 100%. And I say it to young kids now, and I know they probably think I'm talking nonsense as well, but it does go that quickly. You're so engrossed in your career and developing and winning that you actually forget to enjoy it. You actually forget to enjoy it, and then all of a sudden it comes to a point where someone says to you, no thanks, not anymore. No good for me, you can't do it anymore. And
that's hard to hear when you're probably in your early mid-30s, isn't it?
Yeah, of course you do. Try and get your head around that, that someone's going to tell you the one thing in the world you most love doing, you can't do it anymore. So that's really difficult, and I think there's a lot more help around for people now to deal with it. I wish I had a little bit more help, because it does take a while to kick in, and you have to sort of regroup and find yourself again. So yeah, difficult time.
Years ago, George Graham said to me that when he was playing back in the 70s, he said that when he first made his debut, even when he got to his mid-20s and even beyond that, he still thought in his mind he was going to go on forever. Yeah. Do you think some players still think like that?
No, I agree with Kev. I think they're much better prepared now. I mean, I woke up in a hospital bed at the age of 31 thinking I'd just had a little clean out on my knee, and the surgeon was sat there, which is never a good sign. Physio was sat there, and they both had the old puppy dog faces on. You're done. I wasn't ready. You know, so it was a bit of a shock to me, because I thought I had another 2 or 3 seasons left in me. And you wake up and I said, well, how bad is it? I was trying to fight it. How bad is it? You know, can I carry on? You know, if I carried on.
Players, don't you? You kind of fight it, and they get a bit of luck.
Yeah, I wasn't ready, Aid, and the surgeon just went, well, put it this way, you will not be able to play football with your kids if you carry on.
Wow.
Oh, okay, game over. And I was 31. Reading as a football club were absolutely superb, I will say that, but we didn't get any help in terms of the adjustment. Like, if you look at Piercy there, Piercy's been waiting for this moment. He's been building it up. He started his own soccer schools. He's ready. He's walked straight into a coaching role, which I have to say, I wish I'd have had that foresight. I'd have loved to have done my badges before I finished, but we just weren't educated enough 25 years ago. We weren't.
Andy Sinton, who you'll know from
very well.
Played against him. He was telling me quite chillingly, actually, a couple of years ago. He was just saying that at the end of his career, he built enough money. You know, he had a nice house and everything. His wife went out to work one morning and just said, "Oh, what are you doing today?" And he just went, "I don't know." Yeah. And that's a guy who had structure in his life.
It's got nothing to do with money. It's got zero to do with money, and as you say, it's about structure, having purpose. I was speaking to someone about that the other day, about purpose and what it means to an individual, and it's almost everything. And I think you take that away from a footballer. We haven't got any purpose no more. We haven't got any structure, and it is difficult. And as Brownie said, I wish we had a little bit more help and support back in the day to deal with that. You are left by yourself to deal with it.
Well, as I mentioned, it's great that Jason Pearce is in the coaching game first of all, but also in the commentary box for us today as well. Taken over from you, I think, from the Derby game.
Absolutely, and it'll be a different experience for him, because you know, everyone thinks you can just jump up there and say what you see, and it's not quite like that, and things happen quite quickly, and you've got to remember everything that's gone on just previously. So I look forward to listening in.
Well, Charlie Kirk was one of the scorers, one of the 5 goals against Plymouth on Tuesday night. Let's hear from him now. He spoke to Charlton TV.
Charlie, we're a few days on now, but let's look back to Tuesday first of all. Great win against Plymouth. How would you assess it, having had a couple of days to mull over it?
Yeah, obviously a great result. Obviously with them going down to 10 men, that was probably a big factor in the game, but as I said to you earlier, I think even with 11 men, I think we were quite well on top of the game. And then obviously if my shot goes in from like handball, it's 2-0, and you'd like to think that was game over anyway. So people are saying like it was because of the 10 men, but I think we done well regardless. We knew someone was going to get a good hidings soon, like we were saying it. But yeah, the performances have been there all year. I think Sheffield Wednesday is probably the best we've probably played. So to come away with that, with a loss, was annoying. But we were sat on the coach on the way back, not really annoyed, because we were like, we've played so well. So any other day, we win that game 2 or 3-0. So, and obviously on Tuesday we went and won 5-1. So it was good.
We'll start in the first half on Tuesday. You got an assist for Sean Clare's goal. I think it's fair to say no one's going to talk about that assist. Really,
yeah, it's all about the assist, to be fair. No, it was a great goal from Sean. He hits a few like that in training, so like we know he's capable of it. So I wasn't surprised anyway.
And then second half, you obviously got your goal. I think that's your first competitive Charlton goal. We could see it in your celebration. You booted the advertising boards. Your facials were great. So how much did that mean to you?
Yeah, it meant a lot, of course. I've been here like a year now, and well, obviously 6 months because I've been to Blackpool. But yeah, I mean, it shouldn't have took me this long to get off the mark. But now I'm off the mark. Hopefully, there's more to come.
And how would you assess your start to the season? Do you feel like we're at Charlton are starting to see the true Charlie Kirk? Yeah,
of course. I mean, obviously last year, I'm putting behind me now, that was a crazy year for me, off the pitch, on the pitch, whatever. But this year, yeah, I feel so much better in myself. I feel a lot more confident, and obviously Tuesday would have given me confidence again, so I just got to keep going.
The style of play is something that's been spoken about a lot by fans. Yeah. As a player who's part of that, what kind of things has Ben Garner, the manager, brought to the group?
Just like the way of playing. I think last year we didn't have a true way of playing. It was a bit gung-ho at times. Like we'd play, but then we'd maybe go a bit longer. People didn't know where to go at certain times. But this year, like everyone knows their jobs, it seems. So if that carries on, I don't see why we can't get promoted at the end of the year.
And for you personally, your relationship with Ben, how much are you enjoying working under him?
Yeah, he's been good. I had a few chats and stuff with the gaffer. He's been top drawer with me, to be honest, so I can't ask for any more.
And next one coming for us is Cambridge. So I think so far this season we've had Derby, QPR and Plymouth all at home, all wins. How much are you looking forward to getting back at home?
Yeah, no, it's a good place. Hopefully, the gaffer said it, we need to make the home games a bit like a fortress. You win all your home games, or 80% of your home games, you've got a massive chance of being up there at the end of the season. So another win on Saturdays would be great.
And going into the game on Saturday, having beaten one of the promotion favourites in Derby, championship opposition in QPR, and then having thumped Plymouth, psychologically, what does that do for you going into the game?
Yeah, it's massively. I mean, off the back of a 5-1 win, it can go two ways. You can either keep going, or you can think, we'll drop off a bit. But I can't see that with this group. I think the only way is up, to be honest.
Great to hear from Charlie Kirk there. Kevin, I want to ask you about scoring the first goal for a club. What does that do for someone's confidence?
Yeah, it's massive. As we're speaking to Brownie, but I think you've got to realise it's the start. It is just a start. But I think it gives you a little bit of leeway. It allows you to be a little bit more comfortable on the ball. It allows you to get shots off knowing you've got your first goal. For me personally, when I went to Colchester, when I left Charlton, getting that first goal was massive, and I went on to get a few goals for them. But you sort of have to build upon that.
You can see him training or just jogging on the pitch there, Steve. More to come from him, do you think?
You'd like to think so. I mean, he's a player that's lacked confidence. That's been there for everybody to see. Last season, no confidence, not really getting involved in games, in and out the side. He did have, obviously, the issue with losing his father when he came down. So there was a lot of big things happened in his life when he got down here. We're a year on now. He's got a manager that looks like he wants to play him every week, and that goal will give him an awful amount of confidence. And we haven't seen a Kirk playing yet with confidence.
Right, as I said, we put 5 past Plymouth earlier in the week. We're going to take a look at those goals now. I want you to help me talk through them, lads. What do you think of this here? Plymouth trying to play out from the back, always dangerous, isn't it?
Yeah, very dangerous. And look at the numbers we've got around the ball in forward areas to be able to shut down quickly, to get the turnover. Could have done with Stockley scoring that. He goes on to score a bit later on, but look at the follow-up. You know, we've really struggled to get numbers in the opposition penalty areas, particularly last season, but not there. We had 4 waiting to pounce and easy tapping in the end. Again, look at us pressing, bang, right on top of their defence. Numbers in the box. I mean, I think this goes in and he gets his first goal.
Oh,
but
no, that's the handball, wasn't it?
Yeah, no, what I'm saying is, it would have gone in. I think it wasn't a side foot back in. It would have gone in, but luckily he gets that goal a bit later. But yeah, you're blocking a goal with your arm on the goal line. It's a sending off.
And Jayden Stockley steps up and puts the penalty away, Kev.
Yeah, I mean, he's waiting for the keeper and he's sent him the wrong way. I think it's a really good penalty, but I think he's really instrumental into how the team plays, and it's important that he gets on the goal. So I'm glad he took it. It's important that he starts scoring.
Decent hit this.
Yeah, it's not very far out though, is it? I've seen a lad score from much further out, Kevin.
Yeah. And no one's closing him down either.
He side-footed it. I mean, that's how close he was. He side-footed it.
Brilliant goal.
Absolutely magnificent strike. Keeper no chance.
Yeah.
Now you've got 10 men. You're away from home. You're on the end of a bit of a hide-in. This is a pretty decent strike, isn't it?
I think this is just good play, isn't it? It's just good play. He's hit it early. The keeper's not seen it till it's gone past him.
The keeper's worried about a comeback.
Do you know what? He's going to be fuming. Look, we've conceded. You want, as a defender and a keeper, you want a clean sheet.
Our man, Charlie Kirk.
Yeah, listen, like I said, absolutely desperate for him to score, so we see the best of him. I think we are going to see the best of him moving forward, and goals like that will give him more confidence. Playing the next game gives him more belief. I think there's a lot more to come from him.
And then finally, it's a guy you know well, not just Brownie, but also Kev, Miles Leaburn.
Yeah, look at his great pace and the strength as well. I think he wants to score here. He's not thinking about just laying it off. He's moving in the box as well. Something that he's been working on as well, passing in the box and moving and always being available.
Yeah. And you've worked with him, haven't you?
Yeah.
You said he's very composed in and around the 18-yard box, and you can see that from that strike. He didn't rush it. He picked his spot. Excellent finish. But I quite like the way he held up play, waiting for the runner, set him, showing maturity beyond his years, I think.
Right, we did promise you a look at today's lineup. Kick-off is bearing down on us. Let's have a quick look now. That's the Charlton and the Cambridge sides there. What do you make of that?
Yeah, listen, we're not going to change, are we? We're set in stone what we're going to do. I do feel a bit for Sam Lavelle, I've got to be honest with you. But in terms of their side, you've got the two. You've got Sam Smith, who's scored, a relatively decent amount of goals last year, and actually the one missing, you've got no Ironside in there, who's another big player for them.
Well, Ironside was a guy who scored at Newcastle last season in the FA Cup, wasn't he, to put them out? And I was talking to some Cambridge fans on the train here, and they're saying he's probably their key man.
Absolutely, top scorer last year. Your outlet, not in the side. So I don't know if that's no, he's on the bench. He's been dropped. I mean, I know they had a heavy defeat, but
I mean, as a club, I mean, I think back to 30 odd years ago, it was a team for its time, wasn't it? It was John Beck's side, it was John Taylor, Dion Dublin up front. Yeah. It was a football club in a small town. But there's signs of life in the last couple of years, isn't there? I mean, they had the win against Newcastle last year. They got promotion 2 seasons ago, mid-table last season as well. And they've made a decent start this year.
Yeah, I think it's I think if they win today, I think I read a stat, if they win today, it's their best start to a Football League season for a very, very long time. And so they're very much in an upward curve. They're progressing very, very nicely. I mean, they dropped all the way out of the Football League, so they've bounced back. They're staying in League One, and they're competitive in League One. But we write these off at our peril. These are the games you should win. You need to go on and win.
Kevin, you agree with that, yeah?
Yeah, definitely. I think especially at home. No disrespect to Cambridge, but you're looking at 3 wins at home, and then you're looking at another league home game after winning 5-1. I think definitely this should be a game that we're looking to win. But as Brownie said, don't take anything for granted.
Right, we've chatted for more than long enough. It's time now to cross to our commentary team of Terry Smith and the man we spoke about just a short time ago, Jason Pearce.
Thanks, Aidan. Thanks, Brownie. Thanks, Kevin. Slight change up here because Jason Pearce sadly is caught in traffic outside. Apparently they're not letting people in cars in and around the valley at the minute for whatever reason, so he's just sent me a message.